Hello everyone, it's Lorenz Cole and we're back with the Bettor Podcast Season 2, Episode 12. It's been a long time since we last recorded, but this is a special edition. We're doing a little bit of an AFCON debrief. So the Africa Cup of Nations just finished less than a week ago. I just arrived back 2 days ago from Morocco. Obviously, it wasn't the expectations that we wanted for Bafana in the tournament, but Senegal won the tournament in a dramatic final. I don't think we're going to go too much into detail, but let me just introduce my guests, my special guest that I have today. It's the 10Bet team, the influencers that we had throughout the tournament that was creating content for 10Bet South Africa and Bafana. And without further ado, let me start to my left. Just give an introduction to the audience, who you are, and what you were doing during the AFCON for 10Bet.
Okay, so my name is Ditebogo Mailula. I have a page called Football with CK, and I've been creating Bafana and AFCON content throughout the duration of AFCON 2025.
Yeah. So my name is Lihle Jafta, LJ Sports on TikTok. I do football analysis, and of course I've been focusing on the AFCON and keeping in track with the journey of Bafana.
Yeah, I'm Dalmain Faver. I'm a senior journalist with Soccer Duma. Been trying to create content. But I've been following Bafana, writing articles about them. And I think supporting them. I think I was more supportive than anything else. So me capturing that was just me capturing my patriotism, because I was a big fan of this tournament.
Yeah, but you're a friend of the show, so you've been here a couple of times now. Yeah. So
yeah, this one dates from ages ago, you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, the AFCON was obviously, Bruce said it himself, and he created that expectation going into the tournament, saying that if we don't reach the semi-final, the final should be considered as a failure. Given the fact that we finished third in the last edition.
Yeah.
What did you guys make of the tournament? You can decide who goes first, and we can carry on after that.
Yeah, just briefly, man, there were a lot of expectations for Bafana, especially from the previous campaign that we had. We finished third in that campaign, and not a lot was expected from that. And I think that's what assisted us to perform so well, because we were under less pressure. Now, coming into this tournament, there were a lot of expectations, right? Everyone who was supported. Exactly. The unbeaten run was there. A lot of people were saying we're playing against small-sided teams to maintain that unbeaten run. So probably that could have affected our preparations. But there were high hopes leading into this tournament. We felt like there were a couple of players that could have been included that were not, and maybe it could have changed the trajectory of the tournament. But it was a good campaign, and unfortunately, we got knocked out in the quarterfinals.
Let me go to you. Do you think Bafana underachieved?
I mean, like you just said, looking at the expectations that we had for Bafana into, taking into consideration what we achieved in the previous AFCON, yes, it is an underachievement. We didn't expect much from them in the previous AFCON. This time around, we did expect a lot from them. And unfortunately, we didn't see that on the pitch. We didn't see that in the quality of football that they were playing. So Bruce was right to say that if we don't reach the semi-finals, it is an underachievement. And also, because of the success of the previous AFCON, we were going into this with high expectations. We wanted to, with hype, and we wanted to carry on the momentum going into this one. All eyes were on us all of a sudden. We wanted to prove that actually we do have what it takes to go all the way. So we did underachieve, I'd say.
Dalmain, any positives that you take from the tournament so far? Overall,
we had good possession. That was our highest metric at the time. Said that but I felt going into the tournament, there were so many ominous things around it. Our dirty laundry being aired out in the dirt, the Mogazi thing. Then it went away. Remember, that was before the tournament. And then I remember I was at our last training session. It was in Pretoria.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I didn't get that feel.
Yeah, and in Ronwen comes to the press conference. That's where Coach Hugo Bros issued the apology, where he came out to dispel what people were saying. So then Ronwen comes out and Ronwen says, something's not right. He said it. As players, we can feel that something is off. So now you go into a tournament where something is off From the word go, the odds are stacked against.
Yeah.
But was there training like afterwards?
No, they trained. They trained
You guys
afterwards.
has like 15 minutes and stuff like that to
Yeah,
it?
we did.
Did you see anything that with your eyes or to suggest what he was saying?
Not necessarily. So all eyes were obviously on Mbogazi. He was the focus of attention. On Coach Bruce and his interactions with Mbogazi. But what they did there, to their credit, is everything was okay. The house seemed in order. It's always like that.
Yeah.
Even my wife and I, when we fight, but when we have guests, I'll make coffee for our kids.
Yeah.
You won't pick up that we're fighting.
So cute enough.
But when you guys leave, and then it's back to normal. So with the camp, I felt like a similar thing had happened. The good thing is, maybe you're asking for a positive. There was no fights about bonuses. That was sorted out publicly. And then also the fact that we managed to come out of the group. I think that we had some brilliant. We did. We had some brilliant individual performances.
Okay.
Perhaps not collectively.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. Mudiba as a left back was selected in the best 11 for the group stages from a few international publications. Mbogazi at the time had the most progressive passes. He had so many things. Jules won. He had only been double passed once in the tournament. So we had phenomenal individuals. Lyle Foster at one point was top goal scorer, equal with Lukman, Diaz. So individually, we were phenomenal. In terms of a collective, like I'm saying, our only positive that we can tick was we held possession best, but also at the time when we did well, when there was no expectations, we also had a team that was doing well. Sundowns were at their blistering best, and the bulk of our team had come from there. This time around, Pirates, it was more on the side of Pirates, but I don't know if we had carried over that same Pirates that were doing well into the national team where it showed in how we performed.
Yeah, I think maybe also like we lacked some pace that we had in the previous edition. Like Maseko obviously was somebody that was coming off the bench. We had Morena was very daring
as well.
replacing Percy Tau, and I think maybe also we had like a bit more experience and know-how. If you have but Tau, not saying that Tau should have been there over anyone else, but I'm just saying that was the difference. But the funny thing is that you mentioned now that Ronman came out to say this and that. I wasn't there. I didn't pick that up. Sure. But like, for example, the reason why I'm asking about training is because when I did arrive for one training, it was like a very weird atmosphere. Yeah, it was very weird atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because usually we would come and then like, players would always be like very inviting or like friendly.
Especially on the sidelines.
Yeah, like they'll greet you.
Yeah.
If we take the videos, they'll come like fist bump. It was nothing. And it's like, okay, maybe I was in my head and saying, why are they being so cold? You know what I mean? Then I felt this is a different energy to previous teams and previous camps of like, there's this happiness all over, like
camaraderie.
I don't know, maybe it's the weather. It was cold, it was miserable, and they didn't get to go out much. Like they were literally in the hotel and training. So maybe there was a sense of, I don't know, I mean, the day I'm talking about was Christmas. It's Christmas, so maybe there's also that element of like, about what am I doing here? You know what I'm doing? I'm shifting with my family and stuff. But to play devil's advocate about this whole campaign, I think we performed where we're supposed to. We 11th or 10th in the FIFA rankings
In
right?
Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah.
And the teams that got into the quarterfinal, which is the last 8, they are better than us.
Yeah.
Simple. Like we could have easily beaten Cameroon.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to that game now. We eliminated. We could have easily beaten Cameroon.
Yeah.
But there's this thing of like, if you look at Al Ahly in the CAF Champions League, they can play really poorly, but they'll still win.
Still come out with
that's the vibe that I got from everybody. At AFCON, I was like, yeah, we can beat Cameroon. The guy, they said, respect. This is 5-time champions, and these big boys.
Of course.
They can be how in disarray, they'll know how to win. And I was like, guys, you don't know Bafana. You know what I mean? And somehow they just managed to to get ahead, to win this game. I mean, after maybe 25 minutes, we had 3 clear-cut chances.
Yeah.
They ended up scoring before halftime and after halftime. But quarterfinals is the top 8 ranked teams. The top 4 ranked teams is in the semi-finals. The top 2 ranked teams is there was no surprises.
Yeah.
So I think we did perform at where we are, and we didn't have like enough, how can I say, top opposition. You briefly mentioned that, like to gauge where you are as a national team. Why we're not playing the Moroccos, the Senegals, and things like
More
that.
challenging.
Exactly, to know where you are, like as a national team. If you want to beat the Senegal, a Morocco, or Cameroon, you need to face these guys.
Yeah, teams on their caliber.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look, I mean, if you also see that it does favor you, like Morocco and Senegal, they stayed in the same base all the way until the finals. So they get favorable draws and stuff like that. There is that things, but you earn that in between AFCONs and things like that. So guys, start with you. What emotions were you feeling throughout watching that Cameroon game?
Even when we found out that we would be playing against Cameroon, I was a bit scared because I don't want to say it, but I knew we were going to lose. Teams like Cameroon, your Senegal, they don't have to play beautiful football. They just have to get the job done and score the goals. Exactly. That's what we were lacking in this campaign, right? We couldn't be clinical. If we faced even an Ivory Coast, I feel like the loss would have been diabolical, we
did. Everybody mentioned that. We'd rather face Cameroon than Ivory Coast.
Yeah. But even going into that one, I want to give Cameroon the credit, because even after the chances that we took, especially that Lihle chance, after that chance, I was just like, yeah, we are going to regret this.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened.
It's the mood that everybody felt. That is like, we've seen this movie before where we had a really good start, we don't take our chances, and then we get punished. But do you think that they deserve to go through to the quarterfinals based on their performance? Let's say throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
Do you think they were quarterfinal worthy?
The top placed team in our group, which was Egypt, we had a similar situation with them, right? We created a couple of chances which we should have converted, but eventually we lost that game. So even the game against Cameroon,
the penalty was dubious.
The penalty was dubious, but there's nothing. We put ourselves in that position, right, in the first place. We allowed them to pile the pressure in us, and eventually we conceded that penalty. Even the game against Cameroon, similar outcome. We had a lot of chances, we created a lot of chances, but we're not clinical. And you did feel that the more chances we miss, we were definitely going to rue those opportunities. And teams like Cameroon, like you said, all the teams that qualified eventually to the top 8 are the teams that are ranked 1 and 8 in the AFCON, right? So in terms of the standard of our team, I don't think we deserved. I think maybe the quality began to show when we went to the knockout phases, that maybe South Africa are not where we think they are yet.
We need to play like above, like we need to be at the top level to just compete. And that's like where I want to go, because there was a lot of controversy around this. Dalmain. So, okay, we're still on this Cameroon game, right? We played out of our skin in Cote d'Ivoire, and we managed to ride our luck in the Cape. Okay, the Cape Verde game was definitely luck. There were so many chances, and one would save that.
You create your luck.
Yeah. Of course, you create your luck. But you need luck. You need to be performing at your best level to be with those big boys. Where the big boys can slightly underperform and get over the line. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you have a Carlos Baleba who plays in Premier League for Brighton, playing for Cameroon. He is at 65% of his fitness after an injury, and he dominates the midfield because of his technical quality and his football IQ, and he gets man of the match, right? That was the perfect example to what was controversial after the tournament, where Bruce says, we need players playing at higher levels. Okay, so let me define the question before you go all over the place. A lot of people in the audience were stating like, we can win AFCON with local players. Egypt has done it in the past. We reached the semi-finals, we came third with local players. Bruce says we need players at a higher level. My opinion is, potentially what he's saying is, we needed our star players in Ivory Coast to challenge themselves at a high level, not necessarily we need players. Do you know what I mean? He's saying because if you're in a workspace that's not testing you, you're not going to get better. Of course. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So do you think the reaction was warranted? Because I would say it was a 60-40 split, maybe 60 saying, no, we can win with PSL players. And the others were saying, no, we need players at the Baleba levels at the La Liga. What did you make of that whole?
I'm split over his comments. So I agree we need some of our players that are playing at that level to come and show. Even in the local LFA team, when we play, I always say to our big players, show that you are big players. So we needed our big players to show that they are big players. We have one in the Premier League, Lihle, who did well. We have, like for example, let me think. You are playing in Portugal.
Can I also just give context before you finish? A big player is not, because this is also debated. They're like Lihle Foster's playing here, but so and so in the PSL is better. Let's say Krobala. They say Krobala. So
because his name was thrown out of it.
Yes. So hear me out. So we playing Zimbabwe. And we're playing a certain way. In the second half, Lihle scores immediately. The analyst says tactical intelligence, because halftime they said Lihle, do this, boom. He comes onto the field in second half, he scores. Listen, so that is where quality also, that people don't understand. Quality is here as well, where somebody tells you to do something and you do it. You know what he's talking about, based on what they see on analysis. So
also that wasn't his best game yet. He had been receiving a lot of slack up until then. I think that goal kind of changes his game around. But what I am saying is, you are right in saying that we need players playing at a higher level. We need more players in Europe. But on the flip side of the coin, these same players that play in South Africa took you to the semi-final in the last edition. So are you now saying that these players are not good enough anymore? Because they were good enough to get you close by.
The argument is that the big boys fumbled in Ivory Coast, and then he said that they're not going to fumble, which he was completely right. He was completely right, saying they're not going to fumble this time around. And I think there's the weather conditions was favoring them, because it's like their winter.
Also think about it, Lawrence. Out of the 23 players that went to the Ivory Coast, only 8 survived. For this camp.
I think Zwane was the one that, in my opinion, was the one that we was the most.
Lihle did say, but do we then take a Temba Zwane that's at 55-60% because we know he wasn't close to the machine?
It was a risk.
Do we take him for the aura?
Exactly.
Do we take him
Baleba?
Like even for the experience, we didn't have that much experience in that midfield as well.
True. Sansa said, guy can play for 15 minutes and fit into the tournament.
Give us something. I agree with you. There was a lot of selection problems.
Why if Chandra is a 10? Why? My opinion was like, why didn't he get like an opportunity there? Because it was clearly a position where Sipho Mbule came into the tournament. He was very good going into the tournament. But this was not his own fault. He was not prepared for that level.
It's mass major tournament
in a different position.
Another thing that didn't sit well with me was we took Chandra and Thailand for the experience, similar to what Brazil did with Ronaldo in the 94 World Cup.
Oh yes.
I don't necessarily agree with that. The boy from Cameroon who was showing us flames, Kofane, is 19 years old. I know he plays for Leverkusen, but that boy was phenomenal.
Ivory Coast also had 3 19-year-olds that were playing.
Senegal.
And he was the man of the match.
The defender that came in to replace Koulibaly, 20. So what I'm saying is,
I was 17, he scored.
In this football thing, there's no such thing as a kid, we're taking him along. Especially that Egypt game, I still argue it to this day that these people are playing a low block. They are 10 men, they are run.
They can shoot from
He can shoot. We know. What is Al-Shanawi? Tepsa knows him. Our players.
He's a farm.
So why don't we? You bring on a Mokwana who's gonna run away because there was no space. These people were playing a low block. So all I'm saying is, in terms of our selection, I don't think we got it 100% spot on. But this is the easy thing to do, like to criticize in hindsight.
Yeah.
What do we do? Because in 5 months' time, it's coming, the big one, where I feel like we need to iron those issues out so that when we get there, we don't make the same mistakes we did in this one. Because it was underwhelming. We can say that we performed to where we are. I think it was a true reflection. But now is the big one coming. The last time we qualified for a tournament, it was in 2002. For the World Cup. So there's
the context, I was grade 3.
D, were you born at the time?
I was.
probably only just.
I was 4 years old.
Okay.
So,
No, what I'm saying is there's so much riding on this because of how long it took us to get this.
Yes.
So what we do need to do also is, again, rally behind them, get over this disappointment. I know it's not easy, but now rally behind them and then hope that the issues we had there is something that we resolve now. So when we get to Mexico on the 11th of June, we don't have the same issues creeping up that crept up in Morocco.
Yeah.
Do you think that the support of the national team has like been affected after this AFCON, like from what you've seen on social media, for people that you speak to, and like just observing what happened throughout the tournament?
I think the support for the national team is still pretty much the same. We have a lot of patriots, right? Even after the previous AFCON. What a lot of people are debating about on social media is Hugo Broos and his selections. So they're thinking, okay, if this is the man that we are going to take into the World Cup, is his selections for the World Cup going to be as accurate as we need it to be?
Their favorites, or
That's the thing.
or they think that the squad wasn't
It could be favorites, but it also could be looking at this AFCON. We could argue that the selection for this AFCON is very much debatable. There's some players that we wanted to be there that weren't there. Like we just mentioned Zwane. That was a huge shock for me. But also, will he get it right for the World Cup? Because it's a big one, right?
Yeah.
We are the opening game as well. We want to show that we do have the quality. But there's a lot of people that are still backing Bafana. And it's just a matter of trying to fix all the issues that we had in this previous AFCON so that going into the World Cup, we don't experience the same things.
Look, March is the next games. So it's a quick turnaround now. What do you think is needed to just get that spark back and that vibe and that hype from the from the fans?
You did mention that even before the tournament began, the mood was not where we needed it to be in terms of the camp. And even after the tournament, a lot of us were disappointed, right? The selection itself, it polarized a lot of fans because there were no Kaizer Chiefs players in the team. Squad. That is majority of the supporters of football in South Africa, right? So,
but in my opinion, like they're not there yet. I don't think many of their players, I don't think any of their players gets into the starting 11. I think Totally is the only one, in my opinion, who is good enough.
And he's been injured. So, but who's he competing with now? He's competing with Ndamane and Bopigi.
So I think his Rolls Royce is
100%. But we can only play so many seconds.
Deny his talent.
Look, I mean, they played a different system as well against Cameroon, and that's when you look. That's when I start to agree with her and say we have probably one of the best left wing backs in Europe. Like Gift Links right now is the highest rated player in Denmark Superliga, best chance creation. There's some big clubs looking at signing him like now and for June. Guys, you might be shocked in the future to see who he plays for. And this guy we were told that he doesn't have the quality to play for our national team.
The league is not good enough.
And that is you see. The coach said, I asked Steven, he literally said he's not at the level that is good enough to contribute. That was his words, contribute for the national team. So that's where I agree with it. Say, how can you say that and then you want to experiment with a back three with the wing backs when you leave out one of the best wing backs that we have in the country?
The last he was in the in the national team was in 2021. Who
Against
took
Zimbabwe.
over in 2021?
No, it was his. He was in charge.
So he started with him.
It's his first official game.
Official game. You
Was-
call them.
So we had Lynx and we had Luther Singh on the wings.
Oh yes.
Three of them haven't been there since.
Okay, but Luther, we can agree his career was a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Lodge also, his last game was against Morocco, where we lost 2-1 in Rabat. It was a game where we played 5 defenders as well. Very defensive game. Lodge was a 10, running like a headless chicken because we had no possession. Him and Foster were just running all over the place. And then he made his decision that he's not also good enough. But the system that we were playing was...
Particularly in that game against Cameroon.
Some of the stuff within our system, and we had spoken about this, is detrimental to some players. In Ivory Coast, Percy Tau, we called him a cow, but not because he had such a bad tournament.
Because we know,
but because the system didn't favor him. What we were doing, so
freedom.
For Timbers wanted to thrive in that
He
tournament.
needs to sacrifice. He's a
Percy then had to sacrifice a lot of what he does because he was on form at Al Ahly going into the tournament, right? And at Al Ahly, what they do, Dieng would then hit a 40-yard pass to Percy and run onto the defender, try and cut in, trying to create something from there. We didn't have that in the tournament, so we stifled him a lot. So sometimes the system we play does not necessarily favor our players or players in the best position.
Yeah.
So sometimes you sign like for example, Mufokeng, we know out wide at Pirates is phenomenal. But then you bring him into the national team and you want him to do something different. And when he doesn't, we say, is he good enough?
But on this note, I want to ask you, Lihle, what did you think of Mofokeng's, okay, he got minutes, he started against Cameroon. What do you think his performance there, his lack of involvement prior, and that 10 thing that we touched on, like we had Mbule, we had Mofokeng who played in the 10 role.
Yeah. Even it was just a coincidence for us to identify Lihle Mofokeng as a 10 because at Orlando Pirates there was a situation where we didn't have a number 10 at the time. I think Utito was injured. There were a couple of players who were missing in that position, right? And then Urile had to play as a number 10. And he did excellent towards the end of the season, right?
I think Apollos' arrival.
Apollos' arrival.
Get out the long,
have inside.
But you can see Apollos he's the big boy in the national team. Like Bruce.
Sure. So if you were to pick between Apollos and Lihle at a wide position, then you definitely pick Oswin Apollos. So the only other position that was remaining for Lihle was as a number 10 because as a footballer, it doesn't matter where you put him.
But do you think he deserved more minutes in the tournament?
He did deserve more minutes, but like he said that our systems, they cater for different players, right? And the system that we were using initially in the tournament, it catered for a player like a Sipho Mbule. Right, but towards the latter stages of the tournament, that's when Hugo Bros felt like he needed to be there. But unfortunately, it was too late.
Do you buy the physicality story that people?
There's something I was listening to yesterday.
Cameroon was super physical.
They were absolutely physical. We know them for that, right? But I was watching the Bucks camp episode yesterday, and there was a point where Coach Wade was speaking about Lihle, and he said some of his attributes as a footballer can compensate for his lack of physicality. Yes, and I think it was right in that sense because as a footballer, he's brilliant and he knows how to utilize his body and not put his physical aspect into a disadvantage. But if he was given more time, we could have gotten more out of him. Perhaps he wouldn't have even missed that opportunity that he got, right? His feet were still cold, you could tell.
And he owned up to it. He said, He said, I should have scored this.
That was a big moment that would have potentially launched his career.
I don't see him as a kid also anymore. We now rely on him enough to see him as a senior player on the squad. So it's fitting that he comes out and he says, it's me. That he should shoulder all of that blame because he's just one player. But it's good also that he came out and he said, listen, that was me. So that is an area that he then goes back and works on because it's going to be so important for us going forward. We need Lihle to be at his best. That's why even the talk about him leaving, the transfers, all of that messes with you. And we just found out now that he's a father as well. So imagine in addition to all of this,
even your peers,
you are dealing with that. Your peers are leaving. He came out that, so when you guys were in Morocco, he said that if something comes for me, I hope it.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much noise that one player can take. So for his sake and for the country's sake, I hope that we sort that out quickly.
I asked him that question that you had in your other podcast.
Which is?
No, he was,
with his father.
no, with Deco.
Okay.
Where Deco said it's important not to kill somebody because of all the like hype
That I
and like you put like a lot of
focus
expectation
everything on
on
him.
him. Like this is the guy, it must deliver for
And
us.
it gets to their head. They are human after all.
So I asked him like, how do you feel? Like, do you feel this is the case? And he was like, nah, but I think it was a PR answer. Like, he was like, no, I don't feel pressure's always there, whether people talk
Nah,
about
it
it or
was.
not.
I think Teko, if anything, he knows that situation very well because a lot was expected of him and Pirates, national team.
But it's funny because like at the time we had Steven Pina, we had Dichatwe was playing in the Premier League and stuff like so. But we
was like Chiefs, yeah.
was saying this is our, he was our poster boy basically.
Yeah.
Like he was
Literally and figuratively, because he was in advert. He was everywhere.
He was literally a model. Yeah.
Why do we do? Okay, I can say from a media standpoint why we do it
Okay.
because popularity sells newspapers. Gets our views on the website. Potentially even accessibility. Like if you have like interviews, the club look for Ellis. We don't have any accessibility, but he sells newspapers. He's a popular figure and he's performing week in, week out.
Yeah.
So it's easy to how can I say? Also the club that you play for. If you play for one of the big three, you're gonna be naturally spoken about if you were performing. And it's been a long time where we had a young player that like came out and did really well. And I think we start to attach to that because as a country, we see this young person that represents us. You know what I mean? Like it comes from Akasi. He's the dream. He's achieving the dream. And we like that stories. You know what I mean? We don't like the one that is maybe in London.
Way to academy.
Yeah, actually in London that is South African.
It was the
Makes it more relatable as well.
Yes, it's that story. That's romantic.
I spoke to his father on Disky Dads, and even there, the feeling that I got was that he had ticked all the boxes.
What boxes?
In terms of local achievements.
Okay.
Because by then, with the young player,
Twice.
he was going for his second consecutive one. So it was that thing of we've done this now for the next step. And I think that thing starts playing in your head.
If you saw his game against Cameroon, you can clearly see this guy is ready for the next step.
It has been ready. We saw him a while ago. I think timing is everything and destination is more important than the timing.
I don't think the move will happen now. If it does, I'll be surprised. But June after the World Cup,
He needs to have a good World Cup also, just to solidify that.
But I think he has enough credibility already, don't you think?
it's big fish, small pond right now.
Sure.
Because many agents will say, they'll speak to I'm not talking about really, I'm just a blanket statement. They'll say, a player will say, get me a club overseas. The agent will say, who are you? Like, who do you think you are to demand that? Yes, you so-and-so in the PSL, but do you think if I phone a sporting director at
who you are.
at Newcastle United, they're going to be like, yes, I want this. Like, who are you? You know what I mean?
Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
And the World Cup is the perfect place for him to showcase who am I.
Yes,
Yeah.
AFCON and World Cup is the
It's so important for him to have a good World Cup to show that he belongs. No, we have no doubt that he belongs.
Yeah,
for sure.
He needs to show that he does because so I understand that Lihle doesn't have an agent per se, but different agents have been mandated to say bring him a club. And a big part of what I'm getting from the agents that I've spoken to regarding him is that how we view him in South Africa and how European teams view him is two completely different things. We see him as a complete product who can do everything because of his ability.
Yeah.
They see him as a promising player.
That's risky.
Who could become-
It's a risk potential. You're selling potential.
So now you look at like some of the numbers being discussed around him, and then European teams are thinking, do we risk this?
Yeah, that's ready-made. That's ready-made price.
Yes,
It's not that I don't put spices on. I come in.
It's a plug and play.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You get what I'm saying? So we see him as complete. We see him as ready.
But if you perform at that level, that's when the money factor doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't play.
Gidi scores 2 goals at the Under-20 World Cup. He's now in Belgium. You know what I mean? So you like completely spot on. But look, I just want to ask you, like, in your opinion, like, going into the World Cup, what do you think, in your opinion, would be a successful World Cup for us now? We passed AFCON. We can't do anything about it. We hope that many players can still get moves in this next, I don't know, less than 7 days.
How many days are left to make transfer?
Let me see.
By the time this comes out.
Wait. Let's see. I can't even find my calendar here now. It's the 23rd. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 8 days.
Exactly at the end of January.
So we're hoping that in between now and when this thing is released, we got some players moving overseas.
Yeah.
But what do you think would be like where us as fans and media or whoever, creators, what would be a success going to USA?
So are you talking in terms of the expectations of Bafana going into it?
What do you think would be a success for Bafana?
In the tournament.
In the tournament.
Yeah.
So the World Cup is a different ball game compared to AFCON, right? So we can't really compare.
Just Mexico, South Korea, and one European team. It's not confirmed yet in March. When we playing.
Yeah, we're
playing
all
our next
thinking it
game.
could be Denmark.
Because they are the strongest
Yes. So yeah, it's probably Denmark. Yeah,
probably.
Okay, so looking at the group and how the World Cup is set up, is obviously an expanded tournament. We're playing our first game, the opening game in Mexico, opening game of the tournament. Then we're going to Atlanta and then to Monterrey in the third game. So it's a lot of traveling. But given the fact that we haven't been there, that's the question. What's the success?
So before AFCON, I was so excited for, just our group. And I had pretty much high expectations for Bafana. And looking at the teams, I thought, hey, we qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah.
We did well in the previous AFCON. Surely we get at least minimum third place, second place, going into the World Cup. But if I don't see, because we have a lot of friendly games in between that, if I don't see any improvement in terms of, are we better at taking our chances? Have we fixed our defensive issues, our midfield issues? If I don't see any improvement in those aspects, I don't think I want to have any high expectations for Bafana going into the World Cup. But what I do want for them is to not give our opposition any respect, to not invite any unnecessary pressure, learn. If anything, we're all expecting them to learn from this AFCON going into the World Cup. Yeah. So a success for me, I guess I'd be putting expectations on Bafana now. A success for me would be at least minimum third place position.
Oh. Was it there?
Third place in the group.
World Cup.
No, in the group, in our group. For third place on the World Cup is huge, but in our group, yes.
Okay, that's a fair expectation.
They're just not lost in the...
Yeah. Just not lost,
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say?
No, I think...
So remember the teams here, no? Mexico,
Mexico, we have Denmark
and South Korea.
And South Korea were very good tactically as well.
Very pacey as well.
Very pacey in transition. So we have a lot of tough opponents in this group. And I think what this AFCON did, it really humbled us.
It humbled us.
We're going to prepare with Eswatini, Mozambique.
Exactly.
Exactly. So that's what's going to happen. So Aganab, what would you say? Do you agree with the third place in the group?
In the group, I think that's given that we have 7 months and we have this experience from the AFCON, I think we should better prepare for this tournament and we should be more ambitious.
Just out the group. I think out the group.
Actually, that's what I was going to say.
That is a success.
If they make it out the group, then that's success for us. Yeah.
What I would encourage is all the time we see these type of tournaments as a potential for players to put themselves in the shop window. I think we should do away with that mentality. I think that we go there as a strong team, and once the team does well, then we see, oh, by the way, Lorenz is quite good. Lorenz might fit into what we're doing. But if everyone goes in saying
that mentality, I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get a team, then we are screwed, and then we might as well pack it in and not do that. Yeah. We are better as a collective. We see it, and we also know now that there's eyes on us. Mbogazi is there by Chicago. Puso
Chicago.
Chicago
Fire.
Chicago.
Chicago.
So what I'm saying, Mohau Nkota is at Artifact. So what I'm saying is there are eyes on us already. Already people know that if we go there, we'll find something. So all we need from the players is to put on a unified display. For us to iron out all the administrative issues, even if you have
nothing to think about, just football.
Just think about football. So for the time that you are in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, let's think about football bonuses, teams. Forget about
no excuses.
Because think about in our last World Cup, the one we hosted,
2010,
we drew our first game. Then we lost to Uruguay. And then we won our last game, and that wasn't enough against France, against a broken France, because
Bongani for Mato scored, and he got to Tottenham after that.
So we got 4 points in that group, and that wasn't enough to get us through. So we need to put on a good display.
At least 4 points.
Of tournament football and good football. We need to balance the two. Where if we're playing to win here, we're playing to win. If good football comes with it, that is a positive. But we need to be business-minded about it also. It's a massive, massive opportunity again for us to show that, look, we are here and we want to be counted amongst the best.
Last thing I say before we wrap it up. I'm sure you guys have seen that report on SABC that we might host it. Well, we might bid for the 2028 AFCON. What's your thoughts on us potentially hosting an AFCON? We did it in 2013 and we watched because Egypt couldn't host. There was an Arab Spring and then we watched Nigeria lift the trophy in our home ground. Anyway, what do you think of?
So there's this, I guess, should I call it a misconception that for you to get far, you need to host the AFCON. You've seen it with Ivory Coast. We've seen it with Morocco. Will that luck favor us this time around? Because there is potential that we will be hosting with Botswana, right? Or Namibia.
Botswana, yes.
So... will that luck favor us? I wanted to. I really wanted to, but I really would.
But do you think there'll be a buzz here in the country if we hosted the AFCON? Like, that's my concern. Like, do you think people are going to come out and say, we're going to watch AFCON? Of course.
I think people would. But then when we look at the turn up for local football, would it really be the same for? But that's the thing with Bafana. Every single game that Bafana has played, whether it was a friendly, the fans did show up.
When we played big teams, when we played Morocco and there was like 60,000 people in FNB, that was a really good turnout.
In Bloemfontein, we played Nigeria. It was packed. We played Rwanda in Isla, in Elspruit. We played in Elspruit, played Rwanda.
Bombela.
It was packed.
But it's games of consequence as well.
It was packed.
But
there's an appetite for that.
He's so skeptical.
No, I'm thinking like, who is your normal guy that's working really hard for his money gonna buy a ticket to Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau? That's
for the neutral game.
From a Bafana perspective, it also goes with how we are playing, right? We've improved we've improved in how we play. So the fans are definitely going to show up.
We'll definitely sell out our games.
You know what? For neutrals, that's a good one.
To be honest with you,
it's been a problem. I'm not saying it's going to be a South African, but it's been a problem all around the continent.
Even in Morocco.
In Morocco, they opened up the gates at some stadiums. They just open up the gates
to allow fans to come
and
in
people
for free.
just brew around 20-30 minutes into the game. You'll see an empty stadium and then like it's packed.
Everyone like there's one bus that drops the home.
No, like people are just like standing outside waiting for this gates
Because
to
they
open.
knew the gates were going to open
Exactly.
at some point.
So I mean,
So do you think that we won't have, because Coach Hugo Bro spoke about the AFCON vibe in Morocco, the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Do you think that when it comes to 2028, we don't have the vibe that you were speaking about?
yeah, we have the vibe, I think, but it's very different. Like in West Africa, it's super colorful. They're super passionate about football and whatever. Yeah, we're different. We don't have we're not the Vuvuzela guys anymore. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Now we tweet.
But we're into a new era. We're into a new era, I feel. Like when you go to the derby, you hardly see Vuvuzelas here, right? I'm not tripping.
No, you might see one of those things.
But I do think like we slowly but surely we are developing a much better football culture in the country.
Culture
Of supporting our teams and things like that, and people being more understanding of like what it is to be like. We're getting like fan education. I'm sure Pirates, for example, and Chiefs are like educating their branches of how to support their teams. North Africans is the reference point because like honestly they can make an atmosphere very hostile and it really helps the team. But anyway, do you think that it's a good idea for us to
host
to put our hands up for it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise go to Morocco twice again.
No, I think it is. I'd love for AFCON to come back here for us as the official hosts, not just hosting other nations and just standing by. And it's all going to depend on the performances that we put out between now and the next AFCON that we're going to be having and how successful we are in terms of that. Hugo Bros is potentially going to be leaving, so there might be a
Hey, we didn't even touch on that. Potentially, he's leaving. He's
leaving after the World Cup.
He didn't even sneak
We
didn't throw a couple of names of
who could potentially, that's something we're discussing outside. But
now tell us quickly before we finish. Who's the names you think is
what's the name?
viable?
When you were speaking about Havrenad, something that I disagree with.
He's a serial winner.
No, but the motivation to grind. Look, guys, like they are serial winners, but you must understand our country is a very, very specific country. They don't want the guy playing ugly football, pragmatic
That's
football.
the question I want to
Because
ask
he
you.
can come in, he can win games. One thing about Bruce, we've played games and we've been entertained. I'm not gonna lie.
we have
And we've been entertained. Even when we like, we're not playing too well. It's not as bad. Like, for example, if you look at the Congo coach, Desabre, that a lot of people are putting his name forward. The football is not as entertaining watching Congo. It's very bland, very... And our people is not... They're not going
to turn out.
We're not going to enjoy it.
The big debate also is whether we go European or whether we go foreign or whether we go South African. The truth of it is our best performers statistically has been foreigners. I think the best performing coach stats-wise was Shakes Mashaba. And
which many of the players said it wasn't about tactical genius or coaching. It was more about vibes.
It was about
good vibes.
So now I'm asking, do we take that gamble again, go for a jugular like we did with Hugo Bros, where we go European?
We take 70% of the budget of the...
And then every now and then he goes to Belgium for some time, and then we have a long distance relationship.
All I want is a coach.
Do we want someone in our pizza?
So when you're looking, what do you want from a coach?
All I want is a coach that looks at all of our players, not just all of our players. And abroad. Like, we need to find, like, I know a lot of people disagree, but we need to find players that can, not just any guy with a European passport, but players who can come in and be better and add value. We have a guy that was playing with Kabini in Norway. He's got a dual passport. His mother is Xhosa. He played for Atalanta at youth level. He's now just gone to the Eredivisie, to Sparta Rotterdam. His name is Alwandi Rolzoy. I don't think they've ever spoken to him. This guy's a 1.95 meters tall defensive midfielder.
And we lack that kind of height.
It's like a position that we've been debating about whether...
When we link with Kravashvolabo.
That
was
banter that just went way too far.
Yeah.
For these people, that Kavatskelia thing has got no links to South Africa, but our national team decided it was good to post a tweet, a TikTok about it. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's
the ones
another
that actually
thing.
fuel this room, right?
Yeah, but anyway, guys, I think we've managed to successfully review the AFCON, which was half of expected and half of a little bit disappointing because of our national team coach led us to believe that, you know, we should be expecting at least semi-final or final.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the future is still bright. We've got a good young team. We've got a lot of players that even didn't play in the tournament that can come through. I'm sure there'll be changes come March. And I just think for just a last spotting shot, I think the fans need to just rally behind the team like they have been over the last couple of years, because obviously that positivity and that impetus that they've given us all across the country, we've been selling out stadiums all across the country, has been really pivotal to, you know, sustaining good results. I just hope that we get better high profile games for the fans also to enjoy. So guys, I hope you enjoyed our review of AFCON. Looking forward to seeing Bafana again in action in March. I'm sure you guys will be on the lookout for those tickets as soon as it's available. But yeah, that's what we have for today in the Bettor Pod. Until next time.